up? This is HWood Jade, and you're watching G5CU. I am a dancer turned choreographer turned artistic director turned musician turned. I'm an arts renaissance man. I've always been in the arts since I was about 6 or 7 years old, but I didn't start working professionally until I was 19, and that was a couple years ago. No, seriously, I've been working professionally for about 14. I work in the entertainment industry, predominantly in the commercial world. So I do a lot of urban styles of dance, hip hop, dance hall, reggae, jazz funk, a little bit of African, house, whacking, vogue. I teach heels classes. I run a urban burlesque company. So that's pretty much the facet in which that I work in. I also work with a lot of local talent and international talent, such as Julie Black, Estelle, Divine Brown, Keisha Shante, Gary Beals. It's a plethora of different artists, predominantly in the urban genre. There's a lot of good and bad with being known predominantly as an urban choreographer, an urban dancer. The pros are that it's a very small market in which there's very select few people that are qualified to do what it is that I do, and the pros, I guess you could say, is that once you're known for something, you're known for that. And I have a very good reputation, I feel, within the urban community here in Toronto, also in LA and New York, as being somebody of substance and quality. So if that's what you're looking for, you know to come to me. There's a lot of cons. It's like a really, really small market, and urban music doesn't get the love and the exposure that it should, and therefore it doesn't get the support that it should. So our budgets are a lot smaller than normal, and our opportunities have become very, very limited because even it is a small community and it's becoming oversaturated with a lot of dancers who are now choreographers or instructors who are turning into choreographers. And I don't knock anybody's hustle. For me, it's really about like finding your opportunities and maximizing on it, but it's exceptionally hard when everybody's trying to maximize on the same opportunity, and when the powers that be with the money don't necessarily want to pay for quality, they'd rather pay for quantity, and then the work starts to suffer. And when the work starts to suffer, everything starts becoming watered down, and it becomes a copy of a copy of a copy. Before, the generation that came before me and the generation that I literally snuck in at the tail end of, it was like, if you wanted quality, you went to the people who produced quality. You know what I mean? We used to get paid $300-400 to do music videos. Now they're coming to you with budgets talking about, oh, all we got is $300, and that's total, and they want like 6 dancers, and I'm just like, nah, bro. Like when I was a dancer, I used to get $300. You can't ask me to choreograph and hire dancers, and the only budget you have is $300. It's really sad that that's the state of affairs now, and through being well connected in LA and New York with dancers and choreographers, I'm realizing it's the same crap, just on a little bit of a higher scale. So instead of it being a budget of $300, it'll be a $1,300 budget, and they want 62 dancers. So it still works out to be the same thing. You know what I mean? There's top billing artists who aren't paying the dancers what they should be paying them, and they get a bunch of people to come through and do a bunch of things for them for free because of their name. You know, it's become exceptionally challenging to make a career here because everybody's so tight with their budgets. And there is money there, it's just everybody's trying to keep it for themselves. You know, I always look at it like, if I'm on set for a music video and the video wraps at 4:30 in the morning, everybody should be getting into their cars. It's not right that me and my dancers are waiting for the Blue Night bus and the director, the production company, the artists, everybody's jumping into their cars. It's like, where's our cars? You know, so that's definitely a couple of the cons with the industry, not just here, but the industry in general, because everybody's suffering. But we also as consumers are a part of that because we download as opposed to purchasing. You know what I mean? Like, I remember we used to go to the record, we used to go to HMV and listen to the albums on the listening station and be like, no, I'm not buying this album, or I'm only gonna buy the single, or whatever the case is. We don't even do that anymore. Now it's straight like, let me go on whatever site I download music from and download it. So that's a part of the problem. It's that we don't support entertainment like we used to support entertainment. Now you get so many facets of entertainment for free, so they're not investing money into it like they used to. I feel like it's possible for it to change, but we all have to work together. There's no unity here. The saving grace for my friends in LA and New York is there's unions and there's legitimate agencies who fight for you, who fight for rates for you, who go to bat for you. We don't have that here, and we need those infrastructures so that we can start getting paid at least the bare minimum of what we're worth. We definitely are constantly undercutted, and we're willing to take whatever they give us because there's not so many opportunities. But what we need to understand is by setting a standard for ourselves, we're gonna create more opportunities. It's like, look, you're not getting dancers for $100. You're gonna pay each dancer a minimum of $275. Blah 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 blah. There will be a period of adjustment, but if we put our foot down and we stop doing music videos for free, and we stop working pro bono, and we stop doing all that stuff, then they will start to understand, like, if you want quality, you have to pay for it, or if you want quantity, you gotta pay for it. Whatever the case is, it's just there's no infrastructure here to slap people on the wrist for doing bad things. You know, I have friends who used to dance for a relatively famous artist, and they got dressed, stood in the wings of the show, and when they were supposed to go on, they said they weren't going on stage because they didn't get paid for the last couple shows they did. They called their agent, they're like, look, we're not going on stage, management threatened to fire them, blah, 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 but because of contracts and the way everything was set up, they had to transfer money to the agency, and the agent called the dancers and told the dancers to go on stage. We don't have anything like that. You know what I mean? Half the times we don't have contracts for the jobs that we do. The other half the times, like, we're going on blind faith that these people are gonna pay us, and truthfully, they can just be like, deuces. You know, and I've seen that happen to people before. It's like, some artists in the city still owe me money. I ain't calling no names, Fernandez, but yo, it's cool. You know, it's just that I think we need infrastructure. There's no infrastructure here, and Toronto is in the grand scheme of things, LA is like the grandfather in terms of commercial work. New York is like the grandfather for like Broadway and like the parent for like commercial work. We're still a teenager. You know what I mean? We're still a teenager, so we're progressing, but it's how are we going to go from being a teenager into a young adult? And that's what we need to focus on. Everybody complains, oh, this is that, and this is that. It's like, guys, that was then. How are we gonna fix it? I don't see problems. I only try to find solutions. So, solution is we need an infrastructure. We need a legitimate agency where you have to audition for the agency and you're ranked A, B, C, D dancers. And when there's a casting call, the agency sends out the A dancers and the B dancers, then the C and D dancers go to the cattle call. There needs to be an infrastructure. There's no infrastructure here. And it starts with either an agency or a union where it's like, look, anybody who works for less than this, you're banned. You're blacklisted. And it needs to get real, and it needs to get real, real fast. Alright, so for me, what's next is in the fall I have a mini tour with my, I guess, top billing artist right now, Miss Julie Black. We're going on a really small promo tour with Jarvis Church. Then also in the fall, I'm working on a brand new production, Urban-esque stripped. So I do these full-length productions. I'm doing like a more stripped down version of the show with less dancers in a more intimate venue. I'm gonna be directing a couple more videos in the months to come. Yeah, just constantly trying to challenge myself and push myself further and learn as much as I can. Alright, you can find me pretty much everywhere as HWood Jade. On Instagram, I'm HWood Jade. On Facebook, I'm HWood Jade. On Twitter, I'm HWood Jade. Google HWood Jade, hashtag UrbanSTO, hashtag HWood Jade. That's me. I teach at Joy of Dance, which is at 95 Danforth Avenue, weekly. Check the website, www.joyofdance.ca.